Behind this door, a dark entity. Evil, ancient, and hungry.
Ah, nuts. This ain't a whorehouse, it's a horror house. Aww.
Quincy, Indiana. Population? Around 200 on a good day. No traffic lights, no Walmart, just a stretch of old farmland, gravel roads, and fields that whisper at night if you're quiet enough. Back in 2008, a teenage boy was left alone to watch the family home while everyone else went out of town. What happened over the next week would haunt him for the rest of his life. Was it a ghost, a spirit, or something far more personal? This is Paranoia or Paranormal, and tonight's location is me. Wait, hold up. You're telling me this episode is about you, like your house, like your actual teenage breakdown. Yep, turns out my haunted house special guest is Trauma. Surprise! Oh man, I didn't bring no holy water or nothing. I got some bush light and a rosary I stole from Aunt Trish. Will that work? If that rosary is next to your beef jerky stash again, I swear to God, Greg. Well, it ain't next to the pickled eggs anymore, if that's what you're worried about. Tonight's story is going to feel different. Because it is. You're going to hear footsteps, knocking, and fear, but the monster in this story, it didn't come from a graveyard. It came from my brain. Let's go back to Quincy, Indiana, to 2008, to the week that changed everything. Quincy, Indiana. You can drive through it and not even realize you were ever there. It's not a town. It's a memory with a name. The kind of place where the houses are separated by cow fields, gravel driveways, and fences made of barbed wire and stubbornness. In 2008, I was 17. I'd just been handed the golden key to every teenager's dream. An empty house for a whole week. No parents, no siblings. Just me, my music, and the eerie creak of a home that felt too big when you were in it alone. Let me guess, you threw a party with cheap beer, bad decisions, probably some MD 2020, and that one guy named Chad who always ends up shirtless by midnight? No, Greg, I was responsible. Also, we don't talk about Chad like that. We like Chad. He made fun of teachers. Ah, that Chad. Boy was bald before high school graduation. Damn good farmer, though. The first night was quiet. Still, I remember brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed, and hearing footsteps in the kitchen. Just slow, steady steps. I paused, listened again. But by the time I built up the nerve to check, there was nothing there. The doors were locked, windows closed, and no one in sight. The next night, I stepped out of the shower and heard knocking. It wasn't loud, but it was insistent. A rhythm you can't pretend you didn't hear. So I threw on clothes and I checked the front door. Nothing. No cars, no people, no loose cow wandering over from the neighbor's pasture. Missed opportunity. Loose cows are surprisingly judgmental. One stared at me for 45 minutes once. The knocking came back, this time on the back door. I ran, but again, no one. That's when the sound hit the side of the house. A smack, like something or someone wanted in. My palms were sweaty. I ran through the house, heart pounding, and realized I forgot to lock the back door. So I run back through the house, slam it shut, locked it, pulled the curtains closed, shut the doors, and sat in the corner of my room, just shaking. I didn't sleep that night. I just waited for somebody to break in, waited for something. Because when you're that scared, you don't look for answers. You just try to survive the night. I made it to morning, sleep deprived, eyes twitching, stomach tight with a fear I didn't understand. I convinced myself I was being paranoid. Until night 3. That's when I saw him. Someone walking across the front lawn. Not a shadow, not a trick of the light. A person. Moving. Slowly. Bigfoot, Skinwalker, Jehovah's Witness. You ever heard a Jehovah's Witness smack the side of your house at 11 p.m.? I mean, depends on how strong their conviction is. I called 911. Voice trembling, words stumbling. I told them someone was trying to get in. So they dispatched a deputy. Now, here's the part that really sets the tone. I lived in northern Owen County. The nearest deputy, 30 minutes away, because Quincy, it doesn't have a police department. Hell, it barely has a gas station, and that's technically in another town. So for 30 minutes, I sat there, shaking, pacing, trying not to vomit, while the knocking started up again. Back door, then front door, then silence. Finally, the knock that didn't send chills. The deputy. He walked the property, checked the doors, even scanned the yard, and then he came back and said something I'll never forget. There's no footprints. No tire tracks, no signs that anyone had been there. The ground was soaked from rain. If anybody had been there, it would have shown. Okay, but maybe they floated, like one of them vampire cult girls who now sells essential oil online, one of them. Thanks, Greg. That really clears it up. I'm just saying, spirits love a dramatic entrance. I called 911 5 more times that week. Each time more desperate. Each time officers showed up, checked everything, and found nothing. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I was unraveling. So I turned to the only people I thought could help. A paranormal team. They were called the Indiana Ghost Doctors. And yeah, I know what that sounds like. Guys in cargo pants, holding beeping machines, chasing cold spots, and saying things like, "Do you feel that?" when nothing happened. But I was desperate. And they were kind. They took it seriously. They did a full investigation, set up equipment, ran EVP sessions, walked through the home with solemn faces and serious voices, and they did find some evidence. A few audio anomalies, an unexpected temperature drop, a weird blue light that moved across the wall when nobody was there, but nothing that matched what I had been living. So eventually they packed up, and I was left with more questions than answers. But what no one asked was, what if it wasn't the house? What if it wasn't Ghost? What if it was me? 12 years went by. 12 years of brushing it off, laughing about it, telling the story at parties like it was just some spooky one time at band camp ghost tale. But it never really left me. The fear, the confusion, the feeling like something wasn't right, not with the house, but with me. And then came the day it all made sense. I was in a doctor's office, pacing, clenching my jaw to keep from crying, trying to explain why sometimes I heard things other people didn't, why I saw shadows no one else reacted to, why it felt like the world tilted slightly on its axis when everyone else just kept walking straight. And then came the words. You have schizophrenia. Damn. Yeah. I didn't want to believe it either. I sat there nodding, but in my head I was screaming because suddenly that week in Quincy, Indiana, the knocking, the footsteps, the figure in the yard, it wasn't a ghost, it was my brain introducing itself. So, like, instead of a haunted house, it was a haunted mind? Exactly. And the real kicker, nobody saw it. Because when a teenager says he's scared, we check the locks, not his mind. When a guy calls cops 5 times in 1 week, we think he's paranoid, not sick. And when a kid says he's seeing things, we call it imagination, not early warning signs. I do believe in ghosts. I believe that there are things we don't understand, energies that linger, messages that we sometimes receive from something we can't name. But that week, that wasn't paranormal. That was the prologue to a diagnosis no one wants to read. And it took me 12 years to realize that the monster outside my window had been in my head the whole time. Hey man, look, I know I joke around a lot, but that's heavy. Yeah, it is. And I carry it every day. But I also carry this. Schizophrenia doesn't mean broken. It doesn't mean scary. It doesn't mean ghost story. It just means I see the world a little differently. And maybe sometimes I hear a few more knocks than you do. So, was the house in Quincy, Indiana haunted? Yeah, but not by ghosts. It was haunted by silence, by a mental illness no one saw coming, by the echo of footsteps that never touched the ground. That week changed everything for me. It was the beginning of a lifelong journey with schizophrenia. One I never asked for, but one I now walk with open eyes and an open heart. Because for every shadow I see now, I know the light is still there. Okay, I feel like I should say something deep here too, but the only thing I can think of is I once got scared of my own reflection in a gas station bathroom, so I get it, bro. Greg, I swear to God. I'm supporting you emotionally with comedy. It's what Zach Baggett's would have wanted. For the love of all things haunted, it's Bagans. Zach Bagans, and he would absolutely not want that. He's probably drafting up a lawsuit to sue us as we speak. Agree to disagree. I saw one episode in a bar and I'm basically a certified ghost doctor now. You're more like a certified public disturbance. You say that like it's an insult. The truth is, Greg, you've been there for all of this. Even when I didn't know who you were. And as much as I hate to admit it, even your dumbass sometimes brings me comfort. Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm gonna go cry my polar pop now. Make sure it's tears and not natty daddy this time. Next week on Paranoia or Paranormal, we're gonna head north about an hour to Indianapolis, because there sits a house whose history doesn't just tell of ghosts, but the pain of the country. And let me tell you, getting Greg to admit the South failed was almost harder than convincing him that Bigfoot isn't real. Wait, what? See you next time, folks. We're out.
Well, that's our show for tonight. Good night, everybody.
I want you to pack up and get out. Now, get out!
All right, get out of here, you little bastard.
It's over.
Let's go.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's enough fun for today, kids.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ta!
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Sayonara, dude.
Silence.
Thank you. Come again.